Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Prime Minister Modi is in Moscow today. It's his first bilateral visit since taking office as Prime Minister for a third term. Now, India-Russia ties go back decades. They are what we call today a special and privileged strategic relationship. However, since the Ukraine war, there has been an unprecedented surge in bilateral trade between the two countries. On the commercial side, Prime Minister Modi's visit to Russia comes after a 3-year gap. India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar, has called the visit a very significant and very important visit for bilateral ties and for regional and mutual interests. During this visit, special and privileged strategic partnership between India and Russia will focus on the trade imbalance between India and Russia, the defense partnership, especially one for oil, the stranded Indians in Russia, that's been an issue in recent times, and also Russia-India-China ties. Now, this visit comes while Russian giants are sidelining Russia over the invasion of Ukraine. In fact, from the 9th of July to the 11th of July, there's a NATO summit on in Washington. So what's the signal that this visit is sending? Joining me to discuss this are Sami Kotwani from Moscow, Ruslan Imayev, editor RTTV India Bureau, and my colleague Justin Thomas in the studio. Welcome, gentlemen, to the News9 Plus show. Ruslan, I want to start by asking you this. What's the significance of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Moscow at a time when there's so much going on in the world today?
Thanks for having me, first of all. As you've rightly mentioned, this is the first bilateral state visit of Prime Minister Modi after getting re-elected, and we do know that normally this visit comes to the neighboring states, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and this choice of the first destination of Prime Minister Modi's visit sends a very significant message, whether Indian government and whether New Delhi wants it or not. But it does send a message to Moscow that India values and cherishes this important strategic partnership, as you call it, and maybe also it does send the message to the world that India is very capable and is ready to conduct its own foreign policy, sovereign foreign policy, regardless of constraints and maybe into external pressures.
Absolutely. Sovereign foreign policy in the face of global pressures. And let's hear it from Sami Kotwani, who's joining us from Moscow right now. Mr. Kotwani, welcome to the News9 Plus show. Give us a sense, what's the view for you from Russia, from Moscow? How do you see Prime Minister Modi's visit, his first bilateral visit since taking over as Prime Minister, and at this juncture in world politics when, as I just was discussing with Ruslan, there's so much going on in the world around?
What to say? We Indians in Moscow feel very proud and we appreciate the decision of Mr. Narendra Modi. Today, China is very close for only business. But they do not believe that, they don't trust that, and they're looking forward to take businesses with India. So it talks a lot and it means a lot for all the people in Moscow, Russia.
It means a lot for all the people in Moscow and especially in India. But you know, Mr. Kotwani, before I go to Justin, a quick question to you. Since you head the trade organization in Russia and you're very, very crucial to the India-Russia trade partnership, tell us how you view the new trade relationship between India and Russia as we're moving away. Defense has, of course, always been the cornerstone of the India-Russia relationship. How is it switching over to the civilian side of things when you're talking of now something more than just defense? You're talking of pharmaceuticals, automobile components. In the face of Western sanctions, how easy is it or how difficult is it for you as a businessman in Russia right now? Is Russia open for business? And if so, how?
Now, let me tell you, we Indians have lost so many opportunities. We lost our business partnership during the communist time. We were a very big trade partners. After the fall of communism, we have lost the business deals. We have lost so much of market. Now, I think this is their last chance. Russia has been very kind. They're giving us one more chance to come back to this market. And always, you have to be smart. Why? You don't think Prime Minister Modi was smart to get a discount on the oil? He took a deal at the right time. And I hope this help him to become the third time Prime Minister also. So one has to be very smart, and businesses should be done in a business way. Don't go in the word sanctions, which British and Americans have been playing. This is a self-imposed sanction of this country.
Right.
It's not the United Nations sanctions.
Absolutely.
So please, this is the right time for them to come in the market and take the best out of it, because
Right,
the market
absolutely.
is open
It's-
and empty.
Yeah, well put, Mr. Kotwani. The fact that India chose to buy discounted Russian oil despite the pressures in the world, and that actually kept inflation down, Justin, and that could have, as Mr. Kotwani mentioned, helped the NDA come to power. But you know, Prime Minister Modi is meeting President Putin today evening for a one-on-one dinner. It's very rare that you have one-on-one dinners with heads of state. You want to be a fly on the wall and kind of figure what they might be discussing in that dinner.
Of course, because also Kremlin has gone ahead and said this is an official visit, trying to lay emphasis again and again. So I believe obviously there's a very interesting that payment agreements that are going to be signed. We're expecting, because the talks have been going on that Indian nationals or even Russian nationals, when they are visiting each other countries, because there's a problem in making payments and all that issues, they're able to use their own currencies to to ensure that these payments are made. Also, obviously, a lot of Indian payment that has been given to Russian government in terms of rupees that are lying in banks out here, that needs to be used again. Again, Russia is looking at ways to invest that, but that money itself in India. So that's another area. There's a big whole plethora of logistics agreements that are expected on terms of using each other's resources across the globe. Wherever they are, we can use it for civilian or for military purposes. So there is except the defense part, which I'm not going into right now because I believe there are other agreements there. But there are in itself, the civilian part in itself showcases the fact that the traditional defense relationship has grown much bigger right now. And the options that are in front of these two nations to come together and to channelize that in this, where this geopolitical issue is also a big challenge for Russia. It's India's opportunity to grab it, to ensure that Russia sees India as a reliable partner, which is there, but take it to the another level, other sphere apart from the defense.
Absolutely.
Areas.
So Ruslan, I mean, the India-Russia defense partnership is a given. It's been the cornerstone of our ties for more than half a century. And we also know that Russia offers to India, and indeed has actually transferred platforms of the kind that it does not even offer to other countries, especially regional superpowers which share borders with India. But that apart, how do you see the challenges before President Putin and Prime Minister Modi when they're meeting today? You're talking of taking that relationship to a different level, to the commercial side of things, away from the military, and getting Indian businesses to invest in Russia, getting Russian businesses to invest in India. What do you think are going to be some of the key issues here? Is it going to be the visa agreement? There's talk of a free, visa on arrival for both countries, rupee ruble. What's your take on this?
Well, first of all, I do agree absolutely with you that military cooperation and cooperation in the defense sector has been like the backbone of the Russia-India relationship since forever, probably. But we also have seen and have witnessed an incredible surge of economic relationship and partnership since the start of the conflict in Ukraine. I think the jump has been like it has jumped to $66 billion in the last year alone. And there is some evidence to support this. For instance, India has become #1 pharmaceutical exporter into Russia, moving Germany. So I think there is like a significant potential in those sectors as well, like traveling or tourism, and many more. I myself have just returned back from Moscow, from St. Petersburg. I've seen so many Indian tourists, and that has not been the case in a couple of years ago. So I do see that both leaders do have quite a few issues to discuss. And I see this visit, most importantly, as the acknowledgement of the work that has already been done to build up these ties and relationships between the states, and also all the work that is there to do.
Mr. Kotwani, you just heard what Ruslan said. Now, the thing is that, can India be Russia's China Plus One. Now, China Plus One, as you know, is a global strategy the United States and many other countries are using where they want to diversify away from China. But can India be Russia's China Plus One, as in an alternative destination, investment destination for Russian businesses?
All successful people who have been doing successful business in Russia knows their next destination is India now. After being a successful businessman in Russia with 150 million population, they want to go and do business with India, where it's 1.5 billion population, and from there they want to go to the world. It's very clearly understood to all the peoples in Russia. And the Russian businessman knows about this. If they are successful, their next destination is India. Second thing, I have told you before, I'm repeating, Russia do business with China, their trade is 200 billion, but they do not trust them. They want a trusted partner where India plays a very big role, and they're looking forward to come to India. So it's very clear about this. And about Indian rupee ruble payment terms, I think our RBI knows that Indian rupee is not convertible. The problem is with our Indian rupee. It's not a problem with the ruble. So once our Indian currency is fully convertible, that issue will be also solved very fast. We'll be happy to take rupees because they are convertible. So that is one thing. And whatever my friend was saying about these businesses, I'm telling you, military is the old story. We are going ahead a lot more. Our pharma business has fallen down from last year from 600 million exports. This year has gone to 400 million. The good thing is, I will tell you the good thing. The good thing is all the Indian manufacturers are making in Russia. That's why our export to Russia has gone down.
Right. So that's another aspect of the trade, Ruslan, that you're looking at Indian businesses actually going and setting up shop in Russia, make in Russia. But what are the other, significant announcements that you see coming out of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Russia today?
We obviously don't know what will be discussed behind the scenes. We do have like an indication what will be the major topics, right? We do know that it will be a transaction payment system, it will be the trade imbalance, it will be maybe some agreements in the defense sector. But we also, as you rightfully mentioned, heard a few months back from one of the top Russian officials mentioning that the visa-free travel is in the making. So we should probably look into that direction as well.
Yes. Visa-free travel would completely revolutionize the tourist exchange between India and Russia, Justin. I mean, you're looking at, as what Sami Kotwani just said, a lot of Indian tourists going to Russia because they see it as an affordable destination, of course, safe destination when compared to many of the Western European countries.
In fact, a lot of Indian companies, tour operators are looking at Russia as an affordable country, giving them the option. And in fact, a few trade events that have been happening for the past year where Russian companies have been coming here, displaying their, which indicates very clearly that there's a marked shift in Russia's approach vis-a-vis their tourists concerned. And also Indians are also, having those, we talked about in a lot of the stories that the middle class, which is willing to expand, trying to go places different. And Russia happens to be that one of those destinations which are open for, such conducive places.
Right, absolutely. But Ruslan, there's also another group of tourists who I don't think the Indian government is very happy with their visiting Russia, which is a lot of, let's say, Indians who've gone and who've been recruited to fight in the war in Ukraine. And that is an issue that has kept up, cropping up repeatedly at the highest levels. Foreign Minister Jaishankar mentioned that. Is there some way that those Indian nationals can be repatriated or, these kind of recruitments halted?
It has indeed been a very major topic in bilateral relationship in the last few months, and we've heard the Indian Foreign Ministry to raise this issue in a number of statements to the Russian counterparts. To the best of my knowledge, the Russian government, or Russian officials rather, they insist that no official recruiting is taking place, meaning that no government officials are involved in that. And so we also heard from the Indian government that they've turned to Interpol for helping them to bring down this network of recruitment and
human trafficking,
and human trafficking
element is being suggested.
And I know that this matter has been a subject of continuous discussion between the foreign ministries. If this matter is brought up during this meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Vladimir Putin, I don't see any reason why this will not be resolved in the matter of nearest future.
Absolutely, as it should be. And moving on to other issues of spirituality, Mr. Kotwani, the Indian community in Russia has been asking for a temple in Russia. Now, we've seen temples built in the most unlikely places, UAE for instance. Why does the Indian community in Russia want a temple?
Let me tell you, it's not Indian community, it's me, Sami Manoj Kotwani, who has requested Prime Minister, the President of Russian Federation for a temple.
Yes.
Then I wrote a second letter to Mr. Modi requesting him. It's very simple. I'm the first Indian in Russia who got a Russian passport without a Russian wife. It's my right to pray whatever I want. Second thing, during COVID, we lost 25 Indians, and I was there in all the funerals, and I was not able to give them, the last, what Indians want, that their last rite should go to the temple. So I was not able to do that also. So I felt very pain over there, and I felt that this is the right time to ask for a temple. Now, the temple is very simple. We are talking about a Hindu mandir. Yeah. I'm not going to make anybody confused. I don't want a Krishna mandir. I don't want a Rama mandir. I don't want a Shiva mandir. I want a Hindu mandir where all our god and goddesses are there. So it's a place for everybody. We want to show our rich culture to Russia. That's the second thing. Third thing, I want more tourists to come because they will, as the temple is taken care, the more tourists will come. And fourth thing, this will bring more bigger trust for foreigners, for our business people to invest money. So this is a big investment land once they know there's a temple. And regarding our tourists, I'm telling you, we have a problem. It's not about opening the free visas or that will not solve the problem. Still, we don't have a direct flight. Right. We need direct flight to best 5 cities of both the countries.
Yes.
So if the direct flight to Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, then we are talking about business as well as tourism will grow 5 times more.
Right, absolutely. More direct flights. I mean, that's something that we don't pay enough attention to. But Mr. Kotwani, you're meeting the Prime Minister tomorrow morning at the Hotel Carlton at 9 o'clock. What are the issues that the Indian community is going to raise?
Today,
apart from, yes.
We are not going to raise any issues to our Prime Minister. We only want to say thank you to the Prime Minister for choosing Russia as the first destination. It has already solved our problems. So this is a very good sign and the business will grow from here. The temple issue has been given to the ambassador. It was with the knowledge of His Excellency. We wrote the letter so he knows what has happened. So I'm sure our ministry is going to take a very good step.
Right.
So yes, we are not talking about issues. We want to see what our beloved Prime Minister is going to say tomorrow.
Right, absolutely. We're waiting with bated breath. But Ruslan, is there something other, apart from all of these things that we've discussed, it's a long list of deliverables from both sides, from both India and Russia. And given the fact that this summit is happening after a long time, it's been several years in the making. Is there any other item on the agenda you think that could come up that to completely take us by surprise?
I'd be very much looking forward to see what comes out of this meeting. As you rightly mentioned, it's the first bilateral visit and bilateral meeting since 2021, the direct one.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that two leaders will have a lot to discuss, and there will be some announcement, I expect.
Absolutely. We can't wait to hear what they have to say after those meetings. Prime Minister Modi and President Putin meeting one-on-one after a long time. And this is a story that Justin has been tracking as well very closely. You can watch his story. Now is not the time for a Cold War. Dropping on the News9 Plus app today. Download and watch. Thank you, Mr. Kotwani, for joining us this evening. Ruslan and my colleague Justin. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Today, the geopolitical context in which we operate is highly complex.
We are witnessing the emergence of two blocs once again.
There is a level of trust between the Prime Minister and the heads of state in the immediate neighborhood. Now he needs to get to Russia for bigger things.
It was very important to remove these mounting misapprehensions that somehow the relationship between India and Russia was becoming cooler.
Galwan skirmishes of 2020 were the tipping point.